Hello, and welcome back to Death Before Booze, our true crime paranormal podcast where we tell you fucked up shit and you tell us nothing about it because you have to listen, because this is not a conversation. This is you listening. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen. I missed you.
Hi, Sam.
It's been like a day since I've seen you.
I know.
Oh, I missed
It was
you.
so nice to see
It
you.
was so nice. So nice. So if you have been listening to us since the beginning, you will know that this is an epic episode. This is episode 69. Giggity.
Giggity.
And we are calling this our something about sex episode. The episode that has sexual something in it. I don't really know. We're still workshopping the title. It comes out tomorrow, but we're going to figure it out. I'll just pull that curtain back. Yeah, honey. This is going to be unhinged. Get ready. We're not. So it's going to be fine. We're all in this together.
I'm ready.
But I'm going first today.
You do.
I go first. Yes. I am covering the Ancient Ram Inn in the UK. Nothing? Okay.
Are you waiting? You're waiting for the...
I was waiting for there to be like, oh. All right. So here we go. The Ancient Ram's Inn is considered one of, if not the most haunted structure in the UK. I feel like there's a lot of structures in the UK that hold that title, but this one I think it's like actually true. My humble opinion. It's the oldest building in Wotten under Edge, which is the market district of Gloucestershire.
We're American, please.
Gloucestershire. I don't fucking know. Gloucestershire.
We don't know shit.
The
We're
building.
American.
Wait. This is the I'm American moment. It was built in 1145. 1145. Like that's the year 1145. We weren't even a thought until what?
Nope.
1592 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Like that was
1492.
What did I say? 15, 14, whatever.
15. It's fine. It still rhymed.
I'm in America. Thank you. I don't know things.
We're not doing okay.
No, we are not okay. We are not okay. They tried to ban TikTok. I don't even know what's happening. It stopped working, then 10 minutes later it worked again. I don't know. So, anybody doing the math, 1145 and 2025, that's 880 years this building is like old. We should throw a party for it. It's almost 1,000 years old. There is also on the land Potter's Pond. So it's a cute little pond. It has streams and stuff. It's like cool. Something else to know about this building, like the building itself on the property, it resides on the intersection of two ley lines, and ley lines are, I think we've talked about this a little bit. Ley lines are like magnetic-y kind of energy lines that run across the planet, and they move energy back and forth, and people feel, new agey type people like me feel that like you get special energies or special things from being on these ley lines. Well, this inn resides on the intersection of two of those lines, and one of those lines is also the same line that goes through Stonehenge.
Oh.
So
that's neat.
There are quite a few theories that as we get through this, you'll kind of understand more. Like Stonehenge is thought to be some sort of ritual ceremonial place, like, some sort of religious-y type thing for ancient civilization, something or other. I don't know much. I should cover that one day. Anyway.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. We'll cover that soon. But a theory is that between Stonehenge and the Ram Inn, that there is energy going back and forth between the two, and that kind of fuels some of the paranormal activity that happens on this site.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So this building first housed mason slaves and workers in the year 940. That doesn't make sense if it was built in 1145. Oh, no. Okay. So there was like another little building on the property where this building is now, and that one got torn down, and then this building, or they added to it, some shit like that. So In 940, they were building St. Mary's Church, which is right across the street. And while that construction was happening, some of the streams from Potter's Pond had to be rediverted so that way the church had running water or had some form of water source. And it's thought that when they were, because of these ley lines, when they were changing the water sources and where they were diverted to, it opened a portal somehow, and that started to let evil energy into the property. Don't know how true that is. Later, the building turned into a pub. And when the building turned into an inn and pub, it was already hundreds of years old and started to have the reputation of being a haunted place. In present day, like if you went to Gloucestershire now, there are people who, like, when walking by it, will cross the street to get away from it because they don't feel like it gives the ick.
Oh, it's that energy.
It's that kind of energy. You get the heaves. They don't want to be by it. The structure wasn't exactly taken care of. And in 1965, it really started to lose customers. So the beams of the house were infested with death watch beetles. Have you ever heard of these things? They're pretty fucking cool.
I feel like I've heard of them, but I don't know much about them.
So they are wood-boring beetles, right? And they infest the structural timbers of old buildings. And to attract mates, the adult male insects create a tapping or a ticking sound that can be heard from the rafters where they're boring and like eating the wood. So basically they're named the Death Watch beetles because humans who had to stay up over the deathbeds of other humans who were obviously dying, while they're sitting there in the quiet basically waiting for this sick person to die, they would hear the clicking and the tapping from the beetles.
Oh my God.
So now this clicking tapping noise that you hear is also considered an omen of death, even though
that makes sense.
You're sitting there waiting for somebody to die, and that's why you hear this clicking and tapping because the bug's up there trying to get horny. Like,
that's very weird.
The more you know. So Death Watch beetles. I mean, we're talking about the HRM in here, but, you know, a little, what is that? Ornithology? Is that what the bug thing is? I don't know.
The bug thing?
Cool. So the pub served its last pint in 1968, and then it was put on the demolition list. But the very eclectic John Humphreys purchased the property to save it so it wouldn't be demolished. They were trying to, like, extend the road to, like, make it bigger. And he's like, oh, fuck no, I'm buying this building. And he bought it for £2,600. I did not do time money converter. I should have, but then I got to do pounds to USD, and then I got to figure out USD in 1968. It was a whole thing. I didn't have the brain capacity. I've been up too many hours. Cheap. It's very cheap. So again, the house really wasn't up to snuff, but he's like, no, we need this building. And to this day, the building also never had running water. Like, it never had running water. It still doesn't have running water, and I hate that, and that's a no for me.
But what about it being a pub? Wasn't it a pub?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you had your drink and then threw the glass against the wall because we had no water to wash the glass with. I have no idea.
That's so weird.
Yeah, there's a kitchen, but there's no sink. Like, what the fuck? But there is the pond.
But couldn't they make you know what?
If they diverted the water across the street, why couldn't they divert it into our own fucking kitchen?
I agree.
You know what?
Do something.
Homie, I'm not the architect. I didn't do anything.
That's weird.
So John, his wife, his 3 daughters move in. And the very first night they're living there, John gets ripped out of bed by his feet by an unseen force.
That's a great first impression.
Any normal human would be like, cool. I'm going to go stay at the Holiday Inn, and we are immediately selling this property back to the town so they can make their road bigger. But not John. John's like, home. This is home. So he lived there till he died, but his family didn't. There were too many repairs that needed to be done. Obviously, there was no fucking water, which is when I would have been gone. I would have been like, we can't live here. There's no water. How do I shower? How do I pee?
No water.
What if I get thirsty? I'm out. And it's haunted as fuck. So, cool.
Yeah.
John would not leave. He actually ended up getting divorced. He was estranged from his daughters for years. all because he would not leave this property. And it kind of makes me think there's probably some form of an attachment there. Like something got its hooks into John.
Yeah, honestly, because, like, what's the appeal to stay?
Yeah, what's
Like,
the
you're right.
plan? What's the plan
There's
here?
no water.
There's,
It's clearly not okay. And, like, everyone else
you got to
is like,
sit there and
"Wow,"
listen to
and
the
you're just...
bugs that are literally eating away the ceiling of your house. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. So John has a ton of theories about the home, the property, and he openly talked about everything that he thought, even though he didn't really have documentation or proof of any of his theories. It's cool though. So one of his theories is that the land was a pagan burial ground that dated back to 3000 BC.
And the burial grounds.
Yeah, the burial grounds. There's also a post. Supposedly, it's like 7,000 years old, this post. I could have been 700 and I put the wrong. No. 7,000.
So...
7 with a bunch of zeros. But this post,
long.
it's a long fuck time. This
Yeah.
post was used for ritual human sacrifices that happened on the property. And again, this is my hook to Stonehenge because, you know, they're finding bodies that were obviously ritualistically sacrificed there too. So this is kind of my hook to Stonehenge. Like, so now this post that was on the property that they used to kill people for ceremonial reasons was incorporated in the construction of this building. So somewhere in the Ram's Inn is this 700 to 7,000 year old post that people died on. Now,
You know,
think about the bad juju that is, like, absorbed by this wood, but then also, like, the blood and guts and shit that are also on this wood. And it just seemed like, yeah, let's make this a mantle. It's such a great idea. Don't know.
That's
Don't know.
blig. I like that.
They also found a ton of strange shit while they were renovating the inn, like, you know, so he could live there. A lot of which he claims were demonic artifacts. First, he found a goat hoof lodged behind a brick in one of the chimneys.
What?
He says that this could have been used ritualistically. They also found mummified animals, specifically a cat. So there's like a mummified cat. I'm sorry, Nova. I'm sorry. But, so there's a mummified cat. And there's like I have it in the pictures on the blog, so go check it out. But there's like a sign next to it that's like the cat or the goat hoof, one of those, was put in the wall to like keep good luck and bad energy away. Like keep good luck in and bad energy away.
Wasn't that like a thing you did before where you put it in the wall, but it's like pee or something? It didn't
Yes, that was
be
at the
like
witch house in Salem. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is that? It kind of
Well, I guess maybe by the by the 1600s, there's like, you know, killing and mummifying things takes a lot more energy. Why don't I just pee in a jar and put it in? That it's so much easier. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Come see me for more, you know, do it yourself things. I don't know, fun hacks.
We'll make an Etsy page. You guys can follow.
Red Note, here we come. Shit. Well, okay, let's get back to jars filled with shit. They found jars with liquids and other stuff, and one of the stuffs is what they think is a human figure in like some form of a liquid. So it could be pee.
Oh,
They found that in the wall. They also found daggers, specifically silver daggers, and this one I kind of go with. Obviously, they had to have been used for ceremonial purposes, because why do you have a dagger made out of silver? Like, it's like one of the softest metals. What is that really doing for you? It's not like you can go into battle with a silver dagger. And then if you think about, like, you know, vampires and werewolves and silver, like...
Silver's always that thing.
Silver seems to be that kind of thing. So that one, I'll get on board with. That was probably ritualistic in nature. Because, you know, I am the authority and I know all these things. So that's why I can get on board with that. John also found dozens of children's bones while digging on the grounds, and he also like dug a hole inside the house, which I think is in the kitchen. There's like kind of goes back and forth. I heard it was the kitchen, I heard it was the barn, I don't know, but he dug a hole or multiple holes somewhere on this property, and he's found bones, specifically children's bones. Apparently, throughout the years, between renovations and building and everything, there have been hundreds upon hundreds of bodies found, whether it be in the walls, under the floorboards, in and under the barn, just on the property. There's like tons of fucking skeletons. So this is kind of where it must have been a pagan burial ground. There were ritualistic things done here, like shit like that.
But why why are you digging it up? Just let it go. Don't touch anything.
Well, I mean, don't you want like a veggie garden? Like if you went in your backyard and wanted a veggie garden and you started like digging a hole to put your tomatoes in, and all of a sudden a bone came out. I don't know if I have that restraint. I think I'd be like, bitch, get the backhoe. We have things to dig up, and get the cops here because I need to carbon date this shit. Can I tell you how many times I've asked Ken, can I dig a hole in the yard to see if I can find artifacts from like Native Americans or like wars and shit? And he's like, absolutely the fuck not. No. He'll take my shovel away.
What else is there?
Yeah, I think one time he took my key for the shed away. He's like, no, you can't do this because I wanted to dig a hole. I think I watched a Ghost Adventures episode where they were digging holes in the yard to find
that makes sense.
Relics. And I was like, I want to do that. And he went, no. That checks, right? That checks.
That checks.
Okay. I'm really sorry. I feel like this can't, like, there's just so much about this that I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but just try and stay on the ADD train with me. Okay, so now we're getting to the actual activity. Again, we're going to be all over the place. You're welcome. So Humphreys opened the doors. It wasn't in, like they had it kind of as like a B&B for a while. And then, when everybody kind of left and it was just Humphreys and he was dealing with it himself, he started opening up to paranormal people to come in and like fuck around. So he opened the doors to paranormal enthusiasts to investigate and gather more evidence of its hauntings. He gave hundreds, probably thousands of tours of the property and the house itself, but he never really charged. So it wasn't like he's like, all right, $10, and he was using it as like a spectacle for income. He'd be like, yeah, come on in, I'll show you around. And if people were like, do you want money? He'd be like, yeah, give me whatever you think is best. Whatever you think is fair. $5 free, $100. I don't give a fuck. Give it to me.
You got to put it up front.
Yeah.
You want to see the museum? You got to. Yeah.
I mean, Zach's got it right, man. $90 to get in and go see all the horrible things. Great.
Yeah.
I'm in. I've gone twice. So the most common experiences there are orbs, cold spots, knocking sounds from the attic, weird smells, hearing voices, cameras and electronics get fucked up, lose their battery life, shit like that. Pictures fall off the walls. You see figures moving around. You feel you're not alone or you're being watched. You are touched, pushed, scratched, etc. People have been levitated and thrown across the room or down the stairs. And there's a 7-foot shadow man running around on the property, specifically from the barn out towards the pond.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. That's fun. Cool. It's thought that at any given moment, there are at least 20 different entities haunting the property. And everything got so bad when John's kids were still living there and, like, him, his wife, and everybody was there. His daughter, Caroline, wouldn't even stay at, like, inside the inn. She would go and stay, like, on a camper that was, like, outside on the property that they had. She says she remembers waking up in the middle of the night to a dresser being levitated over her head. And after a few minutes of watching this dresser, like, just hovering there, like, oh, shit, this is gonna, like, fall on me.
This is gonna fall on me?
It was thrown down the stairs. So it left her room and got tossed down the stairs.
That would definitely be my moment of, I'm good.
I think that's when she went and lived out in the camper, because that's when I would go live out in the camper.
You know what? That would be my ticket to the camper.
So while she's living in the camper, she remembers seeing children, other people, like people who are staying at the inn, running out at all hours of the day and night. And she even witnessed a few people jump out of the first floor windows to get out as soon as possible. Like, doing the 20 steps to the front door was just too long. I need out now.
Wow.
She also says that there was one room where you would hear children crying or screaming almost constantly. So over the years, she filled the room up with toys and the screaming became less frequent. But you still can get EVPs of the screams from that room.
That's so sweet that she thought that, like
Yeah,
that's
she heard kids and she's like, let me give them toys. Maybe they'll get better.
Maybe they want something to play with.
Okay, so here's where we get to the sex part of my story. So Humphreys claims that he was sexually assaulted multiple times by a succubus that lives on the property. The sexual assaults would happen as often as 1 to 2 times a week at times. Sometimes the attacks were violent, and it was so bad at times that he would... How many times can I say time? It was so bad that he would move through the house... That he would not move through the house without having a Bible in his hand.
Did the Bible help?
I don't think so.
I mean, just like, no
unless he slept on the Bible.
I suppose. No sex.
Yeah, no sex. Gotta leave enough room for the Holy Spirit. It's also thought that there's an incubus in the house, but now, as I was doing this, and this is kind of why we are recording today, because I kept getting side quest. But the rabbit hole that I went down is that an incubus and a succubus could either be one demon that goes both ways, or an incubus, which is the male version of the demons, who is a male, does his deed with a female human, so that way, he can spawn a different human. And then, demonic human-y type thing. But then it turns into a succubus, so that way it can tempt a man, and it kind of bounces back and forth. But it, has to be one, and then it turns into another. I also heard the theory that it's whatever the fuck it wants to be, and it just does whatever the fuck it wants, which kind of... I feel like makes the most sense. I mean,
Yeah.
Demons don't have rules. They do what they want, in my humble opinion. Again, I'm an expert, obviously.
I mean... You're an expert to me, so I'm like, I got it.
I'm sitting here going, I don't know. I read all these different theories. And
Sam's great.
I mean, the final theory is that incubus and succubus hate each other. They will never be on the same property, so this doesn't make sense anyway. But apparently there is an incubus and a succubus. The incubus is the male, the succubus and the female. And I say this again because our favorite paranormal investigator.
How did I know?
Our favorite team has been to the Rams Inn. So I keep wanting to call it the Rams Head Inn, and I can't figure out why. So they're interviewing Humphreys, and he's telling them about this, and basically all this information. How many times? Why do you stay? They actually asked him, why do you stay here, and why do you keep letting it happen? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of used to it at this point. I'm just used to getting sexually assaulted 1 to 2 times a week. So, I mean, I'll chill.
What? It's fine.
But while they're there during the actual investigation, so when it's lights out and they got, the night vision cameras, Zach is sitting on John's bed and he tries to get the incubus to attack him. So he keeps calling out the incubus to come and, assault him. And it's like, dude. You know what you're saying. You know what you're doing. And it got so much, he got so much flack. Joel McHale, remember that show, The Soup? On, Comedy Central?
I do.
They actually did a segment on this making fun of Zach. I think Chelsea Handler did, too. For him being yeah, Incubus, let's go. He's trying to, call out a fucking demon to have sex with him. It's, so gross. But both of these entities have been known to either push guests against wall or onto beds in a very sexual manner and have left quite a few people feeling very icky. This is one of the reasons why people leave so quickly. And people who have been able to stay overnight have reported fingerprints on their inner thighs or scratches near their groin when they wake up in the morning.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. Okay. Yeah. So now we're at the kitchen. The kitchen, when they were renovating, they found a well under the floorboards, and it's basically a
they
pit.
can have water.
Yeah, but you don't want this water. Hold on. Pause. So they found a well, and in the well, they found a ton of murdered people. Like their bodies were in there.
Excellent.
So I don't think it's like a drink well. I think it's like, well, we'll just put the people here. There's a ton of activity in this area. But then John constructed a cross and put it over the opening, and now activity has stopped. But some people believe that this is one of the portals to hell that made the property so haunted as it is. I've also heard that this well was actually in the barn, but there's still a second unearthed grave in the kitchen. So okay. The barn and the kitchen confuse me. A lot of people have gone to this place. A lot of people talk about this place. A lot of people have documented this place. But, you know, in one thing, the well is in the barn. In one thing, the well is in the kitchen. In one thing, the grave that he dug up, where, okay, so it's a woman and a child, and they are obviously stabbed because there are weird marks on their skulls. And there's like a sheet that had like dagger marks in it, and it was like stained and like really gross. So, but either this well was in the kitchen or the barn, and the grave with the two skeletons was in the opposite place, the barn or the kitchen, the opposite of the well.
And he's just totally cool with still staying here.
Oh, yeah. He's used to it.
All right. Okay. I mean, all right. It's your life.
Yeah, so I got very screwed up between where the well was and where this open, because it's open now too. Like this grave is just open, whether it be in the house. Like they never close. It's either in the kitchen or the barn, but it's still open. And there's like a grate he puts over it, so like you don't trip in it. But yeah, like it's just an open grave that just chills there.
And like the well is open so you can look in it?
I think so. I'm like pretty sure.
Why would you do that? Why?
But we wonder why everything's so haunted. I don't know. Cool. The most haunted room in the house is known as the Bishop's Room. It was named for the Bishop of Gloucester, who stayed there and said that this was the most demonic place he'd ever had to stay, and he would never stay again. And he didn't think anybody should ever stay there ever. John Humphreys refused to stay in the room ever, and he would always knock on the door before entering. There were times where he would knock on the door and it would just start to violently shake on the hinge, and when that happened, he'd be like, yeah, I'm not gonna go in today, and he'd like walk away. Yeah, whatever I need out of that room, I don't need it anymore.
Guess you're busy.
Okay, you don't want visitors, that's cool, I'll go fuck myself over here. There are at least 9 entities that occupy this room. It's saying including the incubus. Like this is where the incubus chills. So obviously, Zach was in the wrong part of the house.
Jesus, what an
In this room, people see a hooded monk, an old man and his dog guard the door, or there's a woman hanging from the ceiling. It's also common to experience a mist form in front of your eyes, to hear giggles and screams of children, to have furniture thrown either at you or across the room. People have seen a ghost on a horse, like a ghost and a ghost horse, enter the room through the wall and exit through the other wall. They've seen a cavalier hide by the dressing table, and then when it thinks you're not looking, it'll run out the door. And people have also seen the murder of a man happening in real time. So, and it's usually this dude is being murdered and he's screaming and his head gets put in the fireplace and there's a fire going and he just gets burned to death by face.
Brutal. Okay, so that's more of like a residual then because it's constant. Okay.
Yes. So the Manchester Paranormal went here with their Ovilus 4, and they noted that the words Egypt, flower, rabbit, and bike came across. Now, the Ovilus is that little box that has like the words on it. It's not the
yeah.
It's the box with the words, and then if you have the one that says it, it's like that computer voice.
Yes, it's the
blah blah. Yeah. Hello, I am such and such. Okay. So they thought that the Ovilus was malfunctioning, and then when they said that out loud, the Ovilus put up the word observe, So they kind of looked around the room, and they found a statue of an Egyptian pharaoh head right next to a bouquet of plastic flowers with a stuffed rabbit toy leaning against it.
Huh.
I have a picture of it on the drive, too. And then the group went on to ask John, what about a bike? Do you have a bike? And at the bottom of the stairs, he moved a curtain, and there was his motorbike that he used to, putt-putt around town.
Huh.
Now, no one is allowed to stay in the bishop's room anymore, because at least 10 people have had to be exorcised after staying in this room.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What?
The most... the most notable... Oh, you're not going to like this. I'm so sorry. The most notable ghost in the house is of a woman who was burned at the stake, and she was burned at the stake on the property.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
for witchcraft.
Great.
They also burnt her cat because they thought it was her familiar. She hid
out.
You know what? I'm trying to get through it. I'm just trying to say it. It's done. Okay, I'm not saying it again.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
she's a witch. She's familiar. Fine.
Yeah. So we had to get rid of both of them. But so okay, they were looking for her. They were charging her with witchcraft, and she went to the ram inn, and she was hiding out there with her cat, and they captured her. I guess they were like, "Fuck you, you're a witch." Like, who needs a trial, right? I mean. Fucking women, right? They want a trial and shit.
If you're a woman.
Yeah.
You got witchcraft.
No, we have enough of you. You're a witch. You're done. So they literally just built the fire in the front yard and burned her to death.
That, what? Makes sense.
So her spirit hangs out in the aptly named The Witch's Room. She is known to scratch and or burn her victims who enter her room. She has been recorded saying, "I'm special," on that same episode of Ghost Adventures. I mean, yeah, girl, you are. Fucking, you let them know.
Get it.
Yeah, we are strong, we are smart, we are beautiful, I am special. She's also caught laughing at investigators while they're trying to communicate with her, so she'll just fucking laugh at them.
So she's just being a bitch. I love it.
Yeah. Manchester Paranormal caught an EVP that says witches in her room. And when asked by investigators if the witch is having fun screwing with them, her response is always yes. People have seen her face throughout the room and in windows. As you're walking by, if you see the windows, you'll see a woman looking out sometimes. And her face is also caught in pictures. And it's also said that, when you do see her face or catch her face, it looks like she's wearing one of the masks from The Purge.
Interesting.
Yeah. Ew. Roman centurion has been seen walking the property and doing his rounds. This was first reported by a plumber doing work on the property. Then there's a little girl who was murdered in while it was an inn, back in the day. They think her name was Elizabeth. That came from a psychic. It's thought that she was the innkeeper's daughter, and she was found hanging from a beam in the attic. Apparently, the theory is that two men who were staying at the inn, had their way with her and murdered her in the attic. People have heard knocking and dragging sounds from the attic, and they think that she may have been buried in the floorboards, either, under the floorboards, either in the attic or where the bar used to be. But people see her still hanging. While they're up in the attic, you can also hear a dog panting, even though there's no dog in the attic with you.
Huh.
There's another little girl named Rosie who's been seen walking the halls, and her face appears looking out of the windows like the witch, or reflected in the grandfather clock that's there.
Oh, interesting.
There's also the high priestess, and I think this one, honestly, the witch is pretty scary, and the incubus and the succubus kind of suck, but this one I think I would be absolutely not. So people are woken to the sound of a woman chanting in an unidentified language at the bottom of their bed. And then they look where they hear the voice, and they see a woman in white robes with her arms above her head staring at you. And you see her chanting these words that you can't understand. That's the one I'm out.
You know, she doesn't seem to have a weapon or anything, but still, that is very much like,
There's something about the
I'm good.
chanting with ceremonial robes that just is a little
Yeah,
off-putting for me.
it's a lot. It's
I
too
mean,
much.
and then you hear about all the sacrifices and ritualistic shit that probably happened here, and I'm just like, I'm
This
good.
guy that still stays here, like, what,
Yeah.
what?
So, unfortunately, John passed away in 2017, so he no longer lives there. While he was still alive and like much older, he ended up breaking his leg at some point, so they had to bring in like nurses and help for him, like medical help.
Oh no.
So the helpers would report hearing things move around, feel as though they were being watched. They'd hear voices coming from empty rooms and would see figures moving around. And it got to the point where the helpers would no longer go there at night by themselves. So the family either had to like pay them an exorbitant amount or hire two people at a time to come and visit him at night to make sure he was good.
I mean, I would do the same thing. So
Yeah.
I'm not going by myself.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm a chill over here. You have a great time. As of 2017, when, John passed away, his daughter took over the inn, and she is still running haunts, like paranormal investigation, so you can go and investigate there. They usually do open tours a couple times a month where, like, it's like, oh, this Saturday, come here. But you can also, like, schedule your own private tour or stay over. But I don't think they really let you stay over. Like, you can't sleep there. But if you're going to investigate all night, you can come in. Like, it's that kind of thing. And that is my story about the ancient Ram Inn in the UK. That's, like, a bajillion fucking years old.
Did he eventually like reconcile with his daughters, and that's the reason why she took it over, or was it just okay, that's good, because they really were like, we're not staying here.
No,
and he's like,
no,
it's cool, I'll stay.
I'll chill here. Come visit, and they're like, no, absolutely not. We're not.
No,
visiting.
absolutely not. No, we're not visiting you. Oh, okay, that's
fun.
That's definitely another thing on our list of like European places where when we go on our
where we go? We're going to Stonehenge. We're going there. We're going to the Tower of London.
Oh, definitely.
I want to go to Hampton Court because Anne Boleyn's there too. I gotta go visit her. I feel like me and Anne Boleyn would have been really good friends.
I don't
know why.
She didn't seem so bad.
I think we would be.
She didn't seem so bad. She just got a poorly dealt hand. It's fine.
A bad rap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that diamond pussy, girl. Fucking use it. And that's what she did.
I mean, yeah.
Don't hate the player, Henry. Hate the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Henry.
Oh, Henry.
All right. Well, for this one, I looked into one of the, if you joined our Patreon, you would know we did an episode about most interesting serial killer. And Sam had mentioned this particular one. And I thought this would be a pretty good one to do for something about sex. And his name is Jack Unterweger?
Unterweger.
Unterweger.
What a wanker.
So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely something.
Yeah.
I actually think I either tried to or I did link a couple of his, or at least one of his interviews. It is very chilling because he just does not give a shit. He just...
If you look up the definition to piece of shit in the dictionary, he's one of the listings under that. Like, his picture is definitely in the top 10.
He might not be the first one. But
no, definitely not the first one, but
10.
he is top 10. Piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Unterweger.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. Yep.
So...
I love this guy.
I
hate this guy, but I love to hate this guy.
But that's why I thought about it, and I was like, this might be the better one, because the Night Stalker was my second option for this. Ooh. But I decided we needed to do that for a Patreon. So
hold on, time out.
Coming out this week.
Okay, Friday this is coming out. I had to listen to it. Holy shit.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Jen did a phenomenal job, and... oh my God, that's all I can say. Like, I don't even know if that's a reigning endorsement at this point, but if you want to know about, what's his real name? Rodriguez?
Ramirez. Richard
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Oh yeah, that motherfucker. Richard
Everything
Ramirez.
you ever wanted to know and more.
Oh, there was so much
I was
more.
like, I'm done.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if you want to know about him, go to our Patreon. $5 a month.
Yes. That one comes out this Friday.
It comes
so
out
that'll
Friday.
be exciting.
Oh my
So
god, I'm
more.
freaking the fuck out.
More crazy serial killers. So our friend Jack was born August 16th, 1950 in Styria.
Sure.
Syria? Sure. To Teresa, who was a Vietnamese barmaid and waitress, and Jack Becker, who was a U.S. soldier. Now, Jack never met his father.
How did his last name become Unterweger then? Who's
I believe it was a grandfather.
Oh, cool,
Because I think also mom was. I didn't put mom's name in there, so I'm assuming it's hers.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Some suggest that mom was a sex worker. She was arrested in 1953, so Jack was sent to live with his grandfather,
Okay.
who was an alcoholic and violent.
I love that.
So, like, it's great.
Uh-huh.
So he was shuttled between foster homes quite often. And Jack was in and out of prison many times. So he was convicted 16 times between 1966 and 1974 for theft, pimping, and sexual assault. So,
Oh shit.
yeah. So here's where he kind of really went on the radar was 1974. He murdered 18-year-old Margaret Schaefer. He strangled her with her own bra.
Oh no.
Yeah. And he was convicted and sentenced to life in 1976. So this should be the end of the story.
Yeah.
It's not.
Of course not. So
While
we
he was
need
in
to have
prison.
the part 2. This needs to turn into a saga. I mean, Hollywood
can't-
needs to make their money.
Which Jack made some pretty good friends and pretty good money. So while he was in prison, he learned to read and write. So he wrote poetry. He wrote an autobiography, some short stories. His autobiography, Purgatory of the Tripe to Prison, Report of a Guilty Man, was later taught in Austrian schools, and his stories were performed for children. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I think it's a really bad idea, especially because I know how this ends. It's not good. Nicht not good.
Yeah. According to one writer, quote, he claimed he was in a drug-addled state. He had unresolved issues with his mom, who had repeatedly abandoned him. That becomes Jack's story, that it was kind of Freudian drama about his mom. The novel soon became a critical success, and he became the poster boy of criminal rehabilitation. So, I did this crime. It wasn't really my fault. I have this, it was my mom's fault. And everybody kind of bought into that.
So now here's my thing, because like he gains, like you just said, he gains this like crazy notoriety.
Yep.
Because he wrote a book that says, my mommy made me do it. My mommy doesn't love me, so my mommy made me do it.
My mom doesn't love me. She abandoned me, and therefore I did this.
Where
And
does that-
I know I did.
But where does that indicate he's rehabilitated?
Apparently, the fact that he was able to read and write, the fact that he actually sat down and wrote this autobiography, people thought, well, I mean, you can't really be a criminal if you're... I don't know. Because to me, it doesn't. But...
Pretty sure Richard Ramirez could read and write, but he was a piece of shit, so...
I mean...
Who am I? Again,
So-
I'm no expert.
So in 1985, okay, so that like about 11 years since he got put away, there was a campaign to pardon and release him.
Ew.
So
Boo.
the Austrian president at the time refused,
Good.
saying the court mandated he had to serve a minimum of 15 years. So he was released in 1990 after the required 15 years was served, because they were convinced he was reformed. Now, the original sentence was life, 15 to life. And
Yeah.
and they said, But everyone was like, oh my gosh, this guy. Like, he wore, like, the really nice suits. He went on to tons of talk shows and everything after that. And he was very charming. So people really didn't think this guy is going to do it again. Like, he made a slip. Whoops.
I mean,
kind
that's
of a large
big
whoops.
slip. That's a big
Kind of a
whoopsie.
large oops.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so he actually hosted his own press conference after his release and appeared on a popular talk show on the Austrian Broadcasting Corporation to talk about reducing the stigma surrounded by those with a criminal past. So now he's playing the, well, you know, it happened to me, so we need to stop this stigma.
Bitch, you murdered someone with her own fucking bra. Yep. It's bad enough I have to wear one. Now I'm getting murdered with it? Are you fucking high? I'm out.
Yeah. He went on TV programs. He discussed criminal rehabilitation, his suggestions on, because he was clearly rehabilitated. So suggestions on how criminals can become rehabilitated, what the positives are of it. And then he worked as a journalist for a public broadcaster where he reported on stories of murder.
Cute.
I guess they assumed it was because, well, he was put away for murder. So, like, maybe if he reports on it, he knows we can get...
That's like taking an alcoholic to a bar and being like, oh no, we're just going to see the band.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly.
I'm out.
No, exactly.
To wear a bra around him.
Well,
Free the nip.
So, Jack told the police he valued his freedom and celebrity too much to risk new crimes. So, when asked basically straight out, hey, would you do this again? He's like, well, no, I have a celebrity status now. Why would I risk that? Good for you. I'm glad we have our priorities straight.
Cool.
So, many believed Jack was a victim of class warfare, a police conspiracy or an overzealous judgment department, which even to this day, some people believed he was put away for that type of a reasoning. Not because he murdered this poor girl with her bra, but because they were just trying to put people away at the time. And today it's sick because some of the articles did say some people were still like, I think that's what happened.
She was strangled with her bra 10 times.
You don't say.
I was trying to help her put her bra back on. And because I'm poor, I didn't know where her bra was supposed to go. And I strangled her with it. Which means I had to hold it around her neck very tightly. Much tighter than those little clasps usually allow. For minutes at a time while she was strangled and struggled against me doing this. And it was because I was poor and my mommy made bad decisions.
And because the Justice Department just was looking for someone to blame. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it.
I mean, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's obviously a donkey.
I mean...
Who are we?
So during this whole time, again, he's doing the journalism thing. He's going out and doing, investigating murder things. Law enforcement was finding that Jack may be connected to a young woman in Czechoslovakia's death.
What?
As well as 7 other women in Austria. This, in the time frame, was all done in the first year of his release. All done the same way, strangled with a bra.
Those fucking bras, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Burn them.
So he was under surveillance because they were like, this seems really interesting. So we're going to keep him under surveillance.
But he was rehabilitated. He learned to read and write.
But also, he went to LA because they were like, it'd be great. We know that you're a great journalist. It'd be really wonderful if you can do a piece on
Tell us
on
how bad
how
America
sex
is right now. Tell us all about how bad America is having it. Because we need to know about the murders in America. Because we don't have enough over here. I bet they're even more fucked up over there. You wait till you see the color of their bras. Go for it. Victoria's Secret, we all know.
Basically, he was hired by an Austrian magazine to write about crime in LA, specifically the difference between US and European attitudes towards sex work. That's the whole reason he was hired. So,
Okay.
now, while he was under surveillance, they really couldn't do anything to connect him to these 8 other women that they suspected were his doing. At the time, also, Vienna had minimal crime. So they had 0 experience with serial killers and had no idea how to pick up on a motive or anything. They were just like, wow, there's a whole bunch of girls dying all by the bra. I wonder if there's a pattern here. Like,
found another dead chick. What do we do with her? Because we don't have dead chicks here.
Yeah, we don't. That doesn't happen. So, and now there's another one. So now, I'm not saying sometimes law enforcement's not really great, but
I'm sorry, this is still
really
fucking better than the people who tried to convince us that gunshot residue isn't a thing.
isn't a thing.
It's not a thing. I don't even remember what episode that is, but we don't do that there. So if you want to kill somebody, go there.
Go to Missouri.
Missouri.
Apparently, the case is still hot in Missouri because like now they're still kind of on the firefighter's back. But like that was the case where it's like, oh no, we didn't do that because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Gunshot residue. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
It's not detectable, and it's also not relevant.
Not relevant. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
The rest of the world is relevant. In Missouri, not even a little bit.
The thing is, what's funny is just in that town in Missouri, it's kind of like, oh, we don't even have those. The rest of Missouri is like, yeah, we have them.
Yeah, no, we do that.
We're supposed to do it. Oh my goodness.
That is the epitome of you didn't tell me I was supposed to wipe my ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Epitome.
So he went to LA, and once he went to LA, the cop surveillance obviously stopped, and they kind of were now trying to build a case against him because of, any evidence possible. Mm-hmm. He met with local police in LA, told them about his little, his, hey, I'm writing a magazine article about the differences and whatever. He went on ride-alongs with these cops to red light districts.
The cops were like, cool.
They were like, come on in.
Here are your victims. We have a buffet of women that you can now murder with bras. Here they all are.
Oh. Seriously.
Look at all of our sex workers. They are ready for you now.
The crazy thing is, being that he was a reporter, and he consulted with police, there's probably a possibility that he consulted with them on people that he actually murdered.
Because, no! I never thought of that. That's terrible. You're right. Oh, God. These poor fucking women.
When he arrived, it just so happened 3 more women. And this is kind of when we go back to, again, flashback to the Cecil Hotel, because that's where he was staying. Mm-hmm. So these 3 women were sexually assaulted with tree branches and strangled with their own bras. So it just happened. It just so happened that when he came to LA,
Oh, I thought you were saying like they found 3 more, like while he was away, and it was gonna like fuck everything up.
No, it was,
okay. So now we're in LA.
He showed up to LA.
Okay.
He murdered 3 women there.
So what are we up to? 11 now. There were 7 in Austria, 1 in Czechoslovakia, and 3 in LA. So we're at like 11.
3 in LA.
Not counting the one that he originally went for 15 to life. Okay.
Yeah,
how'd that work out for us?
By the time they did gather evidence against him, because perhaps the Vienna police were like, wait a minute, that's going on in LA too. This seems really familiar. So they gathered enough evidence to charge him.
How did they find out it was happening in LA? Was it because of his article? Did he ever finish the article?
I don't think so. I think they might have just called down and they were kind of like, or maybe it was we got evidence for our side and then they realized 3 more women. So they were trying to see, I guess, trying to figure out what can we do? Where can we charge him that it's going to stick this time? Because more women were killed overseas. So
Got it. Okay,
so
I'm back.
he had fled. So by the time that the, Vienna law enforcement and everything were like, we're coming for you, we have an arrest warrant, he's gone. So they chased him and his girlfriend, Bianca Marek, through Switzerland, France, and the U.S. So they ran for a while. Mm-hmm. Finally, he was arrested by the U.S. Marshals in Miami in February 1992.
Welcome to Miami. Dun, 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 dun.
He was extradited back to Austria in May, where he was charged with 11 murders, including 1 in Prague and the 3 in LA.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So 11.
The math ain't mathin', but at least it's 11.
Yeah, I guess they found more, and maybe I didn't. It's enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
Like, it's enough to show us that perhaps he wasn't fully, like, he wasn't rehabilitated.
Maybe he wasn't rehabilitated just because he learned how to read.
I mean, I don't know what their goal was. Maybe it was because of being charismatic, but, like, I feel like Bundy was charismatic as fuck, and so is Ed Kemper. They're very, like, calm. They're not, like, over the top. Like,
yeah,
I don't think they should be rehabilitated. I just like, that's not, but again,
we're not experts. We just play one on the radio.
I mean, yeah,
on a podcast, on your speakers.
We are armchair experts, keyboard experts.
Yes, keyboard experts. That's what I am. Yes.
So, the prosecution laid out all the circumstantial evidence. They used receipts they discovered during their search of his home to show he was in the locations of the nights of the murders, of the different victims. The only physical evidence they had was hair from a victim that was found on the seat of a car he had scrapped.
Wow. They went all in. Okay.
Yeah. Jack did take the stand in his defense.
Of course he did. Was he his own lawyer as well? Because I feel like you're rehabilitated.
But he seems like he could be one of them.
Well, he learned how to read, so.
This actually worried the prosecution because they're like, this guy is so charming that he might just like look at the jury and be like, listen, I don't know what they're talking about. So they were really worried that he just kind of talked circles.
Issues. Did you read my book that I wrote while I was in prison?
I should read my book.
You should read my book.
It's great.
Before I go away, I need those royalties. So go read my book. You can get it on Amazon. Comes in 7 languages. Because I'm rehabilitated. I have mommy issues.
So the jury actually found him guilty of 9 murders by a 6-2 majority. According to Austrian law, it's acceptable. It just needs to be in the majority. So it does not have to be all 12. Like here where it's like you all have to agree. So 6-2 majority. We're like, yeah, this motherfucker. But there's 2 people who looked at him and went, I don't know about that.
I'd tap that.
Right. So
definitely strangled herself trying to put on her own bra. I saw it. I totally believe this man. He was rehabilitated. Did you hear he wrote a book?
Listen, a sports bra I could understand getting caught in. Okay. Not to the point where you're strangling yourself, though. Like, I have gotten caught in a sports bra before.
Especially when, like, you're super sweaty and you're trying to get it off, and then it kind of gets, like, cockeyed. It's like your one arm's up here and your other arm is, like it's stuck, like you're punching yourself in the face, and you're just, like, help. Like, your one tit's, like, flapping in the breeze, and you're like, help, I'm stuck.
And, like, but it's not, like, enough to strangle you. So, like,
definitely uncomfortable, but I'm not dying
it's
from
uncomfortable.
it. Yeah. Shit.
So he was acquitted of 2 murders because the bodies were so decomposed it was impossible to determine the cause of death.
So
But
the
he still-
bra around the neck bone wasn't enough?
I guess not. Honestly, based on what I read, a lot of the evidence they laid out was really kind of like a circumstantial thing.
Oh.
And it's really hard
Yeah.
to come to trial without actual like physical stuff. The only physical was the hair. So like,
Got
and he
it.
just explained, he could explain anything else away because that's.
He's charismatic.
So a psychiatrist diagnosed him with narcissistic personality disorder.
I love that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. Mm-hmm.
And June 29th, he was sentenced to life without parole this time.
Thank God. Second time's a charm.
But
Oh God, did he write another book?
no. He didn't write a book.
Thank God.
The night that he was sentenced, Jack hung himself with a rope from his shoelaces and a cord from his sweatpants, using the same knot that he used on his victims.
So he couldn't find a bra?
He could not. He wasn't wearing one. So
Ah.
he used his shoelaces and his sweatpants cord.
Resourceful.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait. Is this like that other guy? Who was it? Unterweger, who we were talking about. Baumeister, where... Because he died before they... Oh, you son of
no.
a fucking bitch.
No. Before
Okay.
his death, Jack had asserted his intention to make an appeal.
There it is.
As you do.
Yep.
And therefore, under the Austrian law, his guilty verdict was not considered legally binding
Yep.
after his death because it was not reviewed and confirmed by a court.
Yeah, because he wanted to appeal it. Son of a bitch. I knew it was something like that.
So, yeah.
These assholes.
Yep.
They always know the loophole.
Yes. not no pun.
Oh my
intended.
God, I did not mean that. Oh, wow. That was really on
But-
point for... Yeah.
Greg McCary, who is a forensic profiler, had said, quote, "I was disappointed to learn that he had completed suicide because Jack was undoubtedly one of the most fascinating criminals I dealt with. He's typical, if a psychopathic offender, but on steroids. His organization, his ability to schmooze people, manipulate, control them, and be above suspicion is a cut above." So the people who actually wanted to like
Study him.
go into more, and actually see like they weren't even able to do that. They're like this guy. So unfortunately, he did die in prison, but it wasn't. It kind of seems like justice wasn't really served here. But also, you can't assume someone is rehabilitated because they're charming.
Or because they learned to read. Or because they wrote a
learned to read.
book. Or because
Or they
they're
wrote a book.
snappy dressers.
I-
I've also learned fuck bras. I've been saying it for years. So maybe I didn't learn
You
that.
know what?
But I'm going to learn other people. Fuck bras.
But this is one of those moments where you're like, do I wear one? No, because you could get strangled to death with it. So
I mean, let's weigh the pros and cons of
Watch
a bra. Fuck bras.
watching out for you.
Yeah. This is going to be my new thing. Just fuck bras. Absolutely.
So yeah, and I also learned that some people can buy a house that is very not okay,
That is infested
and
in
they
multiple ways.
and they find corpses and they find mummies and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, I'm cool. I'm still gonna stay here.
Home, sweet, demonic cemetery.
Yeah, you know what? And that's fine. Maybe he was like, this is so cheap.
Yeah.
Have you seen that meme where it's like the lady's eating popcorn and then there's a demon behind her and she's like, listen, okay, I got this house for super cheap. You're going to sit over there. And I'm
We are
like,
going to
"You know
live
what?
together and just make
We're
it
gonna-
fucking work.
It's gonna work."
You'll learn to love me. It's okay. Well,
So there we are.
Thank you all for coming back for another week. I hope this was entertaining because I was thoroughly entertained.
This is entertaining.
Yeah, this was definitely entertaining. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the bell so you know when it comes back out. Tell your friends. If you want to learn more specifically about Richard Ramirez, which is coming out on Friday, go join our Patreon. You can find that on our website at deathbeforebooze.com and click Patreon. It'll take you right over there. It starts at $5 a month. Totally get, maybe you don't have the money right now. Christmas did just happen. It's a new year, new you. So that's where you go and do the rate, review, subscribe. I mean, if you review us on Apple, it really helps. I know you can review us on Spotify and on Facebook. So, just throw a shout out there on your Instagram or whatever and say, hey, Death Before Booze is my favorite podcast. Go listen everywhere you can listen to podcasts. You want some of our merch? Go to our website and click on merch. It'll bring you over to all of our fun stuff. I feel there are other things I'm supposed to say, but I totally forgot them. So make sure you come back next Tuesday and listen to us again. And we love you so much. We'll see you then.
Yeah. See ya. Stay spooky, guys. Love you.
Bye.